couple days ago, Paulie showed me a video that was on the internet, and he said, guess who this is? I said, well, that's Jerry West. He said, watch. And all of a sudden, Jerry is talking to some campers. And I don't know how old Jerry is. And then Paulie goes, I think he's 75. And I'm thinking, I don't know when's the last time Jerry West picked up a basketball, but he's one of the great players of all time, nicknamed the Logo. And he's talking to these kids about shooting free throws and certain touch that you have, and he's making every one of them. And I went, we got to get Jerry on. So Jerry joining us now. You look great. The shot looked great, Jerry.
Dan, it was just one of those days when, you're out there talking to kids and you pick a basketball up, and obviously I don't shoot the ball anymore or anything like that pertaining to basketball. I'm always afraid I'll break out in a rash, to be honest with you. But, I was just out there messing around, and there's fundamentals to shooting that of all ages that when you first start out, obviously you don't have very good fundamentals because you're kind of heaving the ball up there. But to me, it's always just been a lever action, and just one of those days when I was out there messing around with these kids, trying to give them an idea what they should do, and a whole bunch of them went in. I was quite shocked, as a matter of fact.
Well, I saw you. I think you made 11, 12 in a row.
Yeah. As I say, Dan, that's something I don't think that, regardless of what your age is, if you just know the fundamentals and if you learn how to use what legs you have left. Shooting is I've never felt has been that hard. It's more difficult to make a shot when someone's in front of you because you have to be more precise. You have to learn how to shoot the ball quickly, and you have to learn how to create space for yourself to do that. And the mechanics of shooting I think are relatively simple, and particularly the people who shoot the ball real well. If you look at them, they all have similar looking shots. They have different releases, but it's just one of those days when I was having fun with some kids.
Mark Jackson, the Golden State head coach, said that he thinks his backcourt's the best shooting backcourt in the history of the NBA with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. And I brought up you and Gail Goodrich were backcourt teammates, but could you see anybody who rivals, maybe not the depth of their, how deep these guys shoot, but just the best shooting backcourt of all time, in your opinion, is who?
Well, I would, in deference to a lot of backcourts I've seen play, I would not make that statement. Okay, they're wonderful three-point shooters, but as I mentioned before, and I've been asked this question before, if they're going to stand around and shoot three-point shots, that would be a pair that would be right at the very, very top of other backcourts. But to me, a quality of work over a period of time is what's going to determine how you view someone, and Mark loves these kids, and he's has been very praiseworthy of them. But I wouldn't necessarily buy into that, to be honest with you.
Well, they're great, but as I said to him, it's kind of difficult to tell because of what their roles are. It's different, the dependency on the 3-point shot. You have guys who come into the league and stay in the league because they can shoot that, but that. A lot of times you're a standalone jump shooter. The difference between getting a shot off or just standing and shooting threes is a little bit different. But, I think Mark put a lot of pressure on the kids early. But, knowing Mark, that's how he is.
Well, I think every coach wants to show confidence in players, and every coach has a different way of doing it. As I say, the game has changed so much. If you look at the games now, heck, teams are shooting 30, some nights over 30 3-point shots, and it's become a part of coaches' ability to coach. But I've always felt that maybe the best way to do that is to have people who get in the lane and find people that are open, who are capable of making those shots. But and a lot of people need to run into those shots, Dan. You have spot-up shooters and people who are better coming off a couple of dribbles where they get their rhythm and shoot the shot. But, there's no question it's a weapon. And at times I feel like an abused weapon myself.
Really?
Well, I'll tell you why, Dan, because, if you take quick 3-point shots in the NBA, it makes it very difficult to recover and get back and play defense. And if you're taking it the context of your offense, then that's fine because you usually set. You have the ability to get back on defense, but And the reason it's such a great weapon is that if you've got really good three-point shooters, you can be down 9 points with 2 minutes left to go and four times down the court, you might have a three-point lead, and that's the beauty of it. But at times I think people fall in love with it, and when you need to maybe execute a little bit more, and but all coaches, I don't think there's a coach in the league wouldn't tell you it's added a lot and enhanced the game a lot to have the three-point shot.
He's Jerry West, the Lakers Hall of Famer, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Kobe comes back sooner than people thought from the Achilles, and now with the knee injury. You retired at age 35 with, I think, and Kobe is, I think, at that age as well. The odds, the chances to be able to come back from this are what? Added to what happened with the Achilles?
Well, you have to know him, first of all. He's a different breed of animal in terms of being an athlete. And he's very prideful. He takes great pride in what he does as a player. It's important for him to play basketball, and nothing would ever surprise me. But I don't think there's any question, Dan. He's played since he's been 17 years old. When we first drafted him, we couldn't even sign him to a contract. And he has played so many minutes, and he's put so much effort into it that it does take its toll. I don't think there's any question it takes its toll. And just watching him when he was playing, to me, he didn't look like the same player. He hadn't got to where he was real explosive and everything. I think his shooting would always be there, but I've often wondered if he would have just rested another couple months, would we have seen a different Kobe Bryant? But knowing him, that is not going to ever happen. He just wants to play, and he loves to play, and that's who he really is.
Well, can you protect him from him?
Well, him, no. You can't. He is, he will be the first one there. He'll go over and shoot around at 6 o'clock in the morning when he's, when a lot of days in the off season, he gets there really early and gets his day done. And it's, as I say, it's just a remarkable tribute to an incredible player, but more importantly, one of the toughest players I think you'll ever see play this game. He doesn't take no for an answer. He's pretty much set in his ways about how he wants to approach it. But frankly, just watching him play, he didn't look like the Kobe Bryant to me. And again, he had a serious injury, and I don't care how much you rehab. Somewhere along the way, your body is going to react in different ways. And I was reading an article today, and some doctor who, and everyone's going to be experts when it comes to him now from a physical standpoint, said that he felt that it could possibly be the result of him favoring his leg a little bit. So who knows? But he's put a lot of miles in that body, and hard miles, because he never takes a night off.
Well, he's played 3 more seasons of postseason games, and I liken that to, playing 1.5 games each time, because they're playoff games. There's more at stake. You exert more. They mean more. That eventually, he's an older 35.
Well, he's such an incredibly conditioned athlete. Again, I say one of the most unique specimens I've ever seen in terms of his work ethic and how he takes care of himself. But as you mentioned, Dan, playoff games are really a lot more strenuous, okay, because you're playing the best of the best. Every night you're scouted. People try to take away things that you want to do in a game. And the stakes are a lot higher, and he has played a lot of those games. And in my career, Dan, because we played a lot of 3 nights in a row, and frankly, everyone asked me how you would do that. I always felt I liked to play 3 nights in a row because you didn't have anything to do except think about basketball. And if you get your rest, I felt you were sharper. There was no distractions around. You just played the game. I liked that, and I would rather have done that than practice, to be honest with you. After a while, practice is designed to work on mistakes and get players who don't have an opportunity to play very much, get them involved. But as I say, this playoff games are something else. I missed 2 full years in my NBA career, and again, I didn't start till I was 22, as he started when he was 18, and I had a chronic hamstring pull, and that probably wouldn't have happened today with all the training aids and everything. But it's tough to come back and play when you're playing against players who are, regardless of what kind of condition you are, you're playing against players who've been playing and competing against very good opponents, and they're very sharp, and you're trying to catch up in a short period of time. And actually, I think you have to work harder after you come back from an injury than you do when you have than you do when you just have days off.
Well, we'll see what kind of time frame here. It might be a good thing for this team if he does take some time off while they wait for him and Nash and everybody else. It's great to talk to you. Yes, you were going to say?
Well, Dan, I think one thing with this team here, everyone is like the coaches. I think Mike D'Antoni has done an unbelievable job. I mean, I can't believe the job he's done, because I don't think this is one of the most talented Laker teams by far. They have a bunch of players that play with a lot of teams, and he's molded them, and they really play hard, Dan. They really play hard, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can get a couple of their point guard backs. And they've had an injury-filled season, and when you have that, it always disrupts things. But it'll be interesting to see how they play from here out, and particularly if they can get their other people back. Can they sustain anything for a long period of time? I'm not sure, but I wouldn't put anything past some of these teams. There's some teams that play extremely well that you didn't think were going to play well, and hopefully for the league, because the Lakers are such an important part, they will be able to play at least competitively.
Well, Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays, and thanks for joining us again.
Dan, my best to you always.
Thank you, Jerry.
Bye.
That's Laker Hall of Famer, Jerry West.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.